Hi, I'm Fleming. This is the FUJIFILM X-T5 and welcome to my 1-year long-term review. I work as a professional concert and event photographer, and I've been using the FUJIFILM X-T5, well, two of them actually, as my main cameras for the past 1 year for hundreds of gigs. And let me just start off by saying that I absolutely love this camera. This is by far my favorite FUJIFILM camera. I've always loved the X-T series. I've always used the X-T series for all my work. And this one is by far the best. But what do I really like about it, and also what can be improved? Well, first off, it's a classic X-T camera with the same body, the same buttons, the same dials, and most importantly, the same tilt screen. The image quality. This new 40 megapixel sensor, the new image processor and everything, it's just a game changer. For me, like from the X-T3 upgrading to this, it's just a massive step forward in image quality. I wasn't really expecting it to be that much of a difference. I mean, obviously it is a lot more pixels, but it's not just the amount of pixels, it's just that you're getting so many more micro details in the picture, and the colors are spot on, the color depth is awesome, the dynamic range. And you gotta remember that when you're shooting a concert, you're in an environment which is basically working against the camera. Like if you put any modern digital camera in a perfect studio with perfect lights, like even your smartphone will do perfectly well. You feed it perfect light, it will do a pretty damn good job. That's not what we have with concerts. We have low light venues, they're pretty dark, they're really hazy, and they always have a huge variety of light sources, different types of light sources, and different color temperatures, and a massive dynamic range. So all of this basically means that you're sort of already fighting the environment. You really need to start off with the best possible image quality, because you're shooting at ISO, you're in this environment, it's gonna be degraded. You're not ever gonna get the best of what the sensor can actually offer. But if you start off at a really high level, it's only going to be degraded slightly, if you know what I mean. And this is why I think that when you push a camera into these type of environment, it really shows what the sensor can do. And this sensor is amazing. And also, I mean, the world has turned vertical because of phones. So quite often, I mean, I generally shoot horizontal also because concerts are just horizontal. They're very, they're not tall, they're wide. And that's just how I see things. But we always need pictures nowadays. All the bands, the promoters and everything, they need vertical pictures. So I need to deliver in different formats. We might have the 3:2 or 16:9 original, but then also cropped to a 4:5 and a 9:16. And this is no problem at all when you have 40 super detailed megapixels to start off with. Autofocus, massive improvement as well. It's so much faster. And especially all the face detection and subject detection algorithms, they're so much better now. I didn't use them all that much in X-T3 because they were so hit and miss. But I do actually use it a lot now. Even in concert, in crazy lights, I actually use, if I'm trying to get a nice close-up of the singer, I will always use face detection. This is also kind of where it fails. We'll get back to that, because it's not very good when you have more than one visible face in the frame. But as long as you can kind of limit it to just one, it's perfect. And it's a really big help because think about concerts. You always have, if you're shooting anyone who's singing, they always have either a hand or the microphone in front of them, or there's a microphone stand. So if you don't have the help of something like face detection, like very often that autofocus, it's just gonna land somewhere out here instead of here. So face detection really makes a big difference here. Speed of the camera is amazing, and it's at the point now where I just shoot. I just never ever think about it. There's never any moment where I'm like the camera is lacking or I'm waiting on it to do something. It just keeps up. And that's basically what I want from a camera all along. I want it to get out of the way. I just always want to be making great pictures. It's really just a box with a window into capturing emotions. The battery life, I used the X-T3 as my main camera before this, even though I used the X-T4 a little bit as well. I was used to the old batteries and I always had 8 of them in my pocket, just in case. But literally the power consumption, that's a hard word to say on this one, is unbelievable. Like with a new battery and when you're shooting an event where you don't really turn the camera on and off all the time, that's what eats the power. I've shot 2,500 pictures during a concert and never changed batteries. Still have power left. The high ISO is still fine. Like, I want to say it's such a subjective thing, right? Because I kind of like grain and texture. I don't really mind shooting at high ISO. I actually kind of enjoy it. You might hate it, but still, if you compare the pictures from the X-T3, it's probably roughly the same. It's just a subjective thing to, compare, at least in my opinion, but I think it's roughly the same. I don't have any problem with it at all. I mean, obviously I always like to see it improve in the next generation, if they can. But the fact that we gain so many more megapixels and we still have really, really nice high ISO performance. I shoot a lot at 6400, perfectly fine. I'll happily shoot at 12,800 the whole show if I have to, because that's one of the things people always ask me. How high can I go? I'm like, as high as you need to. What's the alternative? Go home? Obviously, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to make pictures. 6400 is obviously better, but it's still, in comparison to X-T3, it's about the same, I want to say. Sometimes it ends up looking nicer because basically you're never seeing a full 40 megapixel file at 1:1. So as you scale it down, you actually end up with a nicer picture. So that's another area where the amount of megapixels actually makes a nice positive change. And then we have the return of the beloved classic XT tilt screen. Now this is the screen that belongs on an XT camera, not a selfie screen, but a nice tilt screen that can do this, which I use all the time during events, and it's back. And as far as I can tell, it's essentially the same as the X-T1, and that's how it should be. It's a perfect screen for me. I don't ever change this to anything that swivels unless you can also make it do this tilt, because that is so incredibly useful at concerts and events. It's back. I love it. We got IBIS now. We got an image stabilizer in the sensor, and it's just a big plus. I never really figured that would be such a nice thing, but yeah, 40 megapixel, you're standing at the back of a venue and you're trying to make a nice, detailed, sharp overview picture. Or even better, you got lasers, which means you need a slow shutter to capture the full sort of drawing of the lasers. Now we have IBIS. So all of that is just easy. It's super easy. You can shoot it with one hand, eat a burger with the other. Also, you can use it for creative effects. Like, it's quite nice for doing little zoom-ins and stuff like that, because it'll still keep the camera really steady, even at very, very slow shutter speeds. Finally, it's super stable, super dependable. Like I said, I've used this for so many gigs and so events, so many hours of constant shooting, and I completely trust this camera. It's super dependable. Couple of things that can be improved. And number one, we talked about this, the face detection. It works well. It's much better than before. It occasionally gets confused, but the main problem on the X-T5 anyway is that it will detect too many faces and you can't choose which one you want it to stick to. I work for this large classical concert venue, and there's a lot of these type of sort of symphony orchestra concerts. Sometimes you have a singer in front of an orchestra, which means there's an abundance of faces. And the face detection just goes nuts. It just detects all of these faces all over the place, which is fine if it allowed me to choose which one to sign a glue onto and stick to that, but it doesn't. It just jumps around, and that's insanely annoying, to put it mildly, because it shouldn't work like that. What it basically means is that face detection is super awesome as long as you have one person in the front and no other faces that it will kind of, start to hunt for. And that's actually why I've mapped face detection on and off to this button right here, because it's so quick to turn it on and off. Doing shooting, I'm usually in a continuous autofocus, and I'll just turn it off the minute I can see, or the second that I can see that it starts hunting all over the place because there are too many faces. And that's fine that you can do that, but it shouldn't be necessary. I should be able to just lock it on to the singer in the front. And again, I talked about how that's such a huge advantage because there's often a hand with a microphone or a microphone stand. And now that it's there, I used to work without it. I can work without it, that's fine, but it's there now, and then you want it to work. Because when it works, it's great. It actually puts the focus plane right here instead of, on the hand. Another thing with the face detection is that it really has its own metering. It has this mode of face detection metering mode that overrides anything else. So the one thing about turning it on and off all the time is that the metering will change wildly, especially when you have concert with a spotlight on maybe the lead singer. So the face detection will just meter the face. Might be okay in the studio, might be awesome in the studio, not so nice during a concert, I want to say. Anyway, I just want the option to turn it off. It's fine that it's there, but I want to turn it off. And then there were a couple of bugs at the beginning, but they've all been fixed in firmware now. So that's really nice. One thing about the ergonomics that I actually want to mention is that the original body and grip of the X-T5 is so small. I have pretty large hands and long fingers, but fortunately you can get really nice L grips, and I'm using grips from Small Rig. In conclusion, X-T5, by far my favorite FUJIFILM camera so far. I absolutely love this camera. It's pretty close to being the perfect event camera. We're not quite there yet. Still a little bit that can be improved, but it's a massive improvement on the X-T3. Anyway, this is all just my experiences from using two of these for so many gigs over 1 year and being incredibly happy with the results. I hope you enjoyed a couple of the stills that I've shown along the way, and see you again soon. Music is life. Music connects us, crosses borders. Music is transformative. Music is everything to me, and I absolutely love documenting live music.